Hello and welcome again to Not Fake News. We have three articles I want to show you here. Kennedy, De Niro, optimistic about Trump's effort to study vaccine safety. Scott Pruitt's game-changing call for the debate on climate change. And lawmakers protest arrest of DACA recipient. ICE says he admitted gang ties. Okay, start with this one. Kennedy, De Niro, optimistic about Trump's effort to study vaccine safety. In Washington, environmental activist Robert Kennedy Jr. and actor Robert De Niro are optimistic about President Trump's effort to examine the safety of vaccine and the creation of a commission dedicated to the issue. De Niro and Kennedy have teamed up on the World Mercury Project, which advocates for the elimination of mercuries in vaccines. During a news conference at the National Press Club today, Kennedy said many studies have shown a link between mercury in vaccines and neurodevelopment disorders. He also said some studies have linked thermosol exposure to autism and that journalists should question lawmakers about the safeties of the vaccines. Kennedy stressed that he supports safe vaccines and rejects being labeled as anti-vaccine, adding that no one called him anti-fish when he advocated for the elimination of mercury in fish. People of authority lie, and it is our job of the journalists to check them. We can't just take their words on stuff, he said in a news conference. No, you can't, especially now that everything they say is fake.
Robert Kennedy Jr. and actor Robert De Niro came here to Washington to advocate for the removal of mercury in vaccines. Following the event, I caught up with De Niro and Kennedy to discuss the issue. Trump caused a stir during the campaign when he said that vaccines are harmful. He suggested that there's a link to autism. Is he on the right side, in particular, on this issue in particular?
I think that that we ought to be able to question vaccines without getting hammered, and that we ought to be able to question vaccine safety and to make sure that our vaccines are as safe as possible. Well, that's what I want. And, on this issue, I wouldn't say I'm 100% aligned with Trump, but I'm aligned enough that I think that, if he pushes this, that he can do a lot of good.
Do you see his term as a better opportunity compared to the Obama administration in getting mercury out of vaccines?
I think he is more focused on that issue than other presidents have been.
He's more focused on all the issues than the other presidents, my friend.
Rand Paul had the same, basically made the same kind of statements as he did.
And what he just said, it was, I wished Rand Paul won. That's what he's thinking.
I wanted to ask you about during the campaign, President Trump, he showed some skepticism about vaccine.
Look at this punk, jerk, idiot. I'd like to punch him right in the freaking nose.
Is he on the right side of that issue in particular?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that.
Well, quick follow-up. How about your personal story? I don't think everybody knows exactly what happened. Why is this issue so important to you?
It's important because of my own personal story, but also because I see how Bobby Kennedy.
Oh, wait a second. It means a lot to Robert De Niro? You know what? I think Trump should put this vaccine thing on the shelf for 2 years.
He just said it better than any of us could. He just said what it is. It has to be dealt with.
At the National Press Club in Washington, I'm Nicholas Fallacy.
Thanks, Nick. Next story. Scott Pruitt's game-changing call for debate on climate science. Oklahoma Attorney General Scott Pruitt, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency Director nominee, is pictured as he waits for the state address in Oklahoma City Monday, February 6th. All right. In light of the charges by former National Oceanic Atmospheric administration scientists that the agency's researchers are manipulating data to support climate alarmism. Scott Pruitt, Donald Trump's nominee to head the Environmental Protection Agency, is right for the call for open debate on the science. At the stake are trillions of dollars, countless jobs, and if the climate scare is justified, the fate of the global environment. The public needs to have confidence that this is not just a political, convenient crusade devoid of solid scientific support, which is what it is. Last week, former NOAA scientist Dr. John Bates, cousins with Norman Bates, just kidding, publicly announced his concern that the influential science paper published just before the Paris Climate Conference did not follow the government data integrity guidelines. Bates charged that the NOAA paper, published in the journal Science in 2015 of June, used misleading and unverified data to demonstrate that the slowdown in the global warming is reported, as reported in 2013 by the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, did not exist. As reported by London's Daily Mail, Bates said that Thomas Carl, the paper's lead author and at the time director of the NOAA, National Center for Environmental Information, was insisting on decisions and scientific choices that maximize warning and minimize documentation in an effort to discredit the notion of global warming pause. Rushed so that he could time publications to influence national and international deliberations on climate policies. This is a big scheme. The Daily Mail reports Bates' vehement objections to the publication of the faulty data were overridden by his NOAA superiors in what he describes as a blatant attempt to intensify the impact of what became known as Pause Buster paper. Bates, a 2014 Obama administration gold medal winner for his work on the climate data records, retired from NOAA in November after a 40-year career in meteorology and climate science. Only now has he been able to expose the latest example of corruption that has infected so many government climate offices. This is not the first time serious concerns have been voiced about the 2015 Call paper, K15. In a paper published in 2016, a Nature Climate Change, a prominent group of researchers countered the K15, arguing that the slowdown was real. Lead author Jay Fye, a climate modeler at the Canadian Centre for Climate Modeling and Analysis in Victoria, Britain, Columbia, said there is a mismatch between what the climate models are producing and what observations are showing. We can't ignore it. On January 28, 2016, over 300 climate experts sent a letter to Lamar Smith, chairman of the House Committee of Science, Space, and Technology, that said, in our opinion, in respect to Call and related documents, NOAA has failed to observe the OMB Office of Management and Budget and its own guidelines established in relation to the Data Quality Act for peer review of influential science information and highly influential scientific assessments. Federal agencies must, by law, adhere to the Data Quality Act and when they collect the data for public use and policy decisions. Republican Smith explained. The committee has attempted to obtain information that would shed further light on these allegations, but was obstructed at every turn by the previous administration's officials. You know, Barack, insane Obama. So, people familiar with the global warming science are well aware that the many serious problems in the politically correct yet scientifically improbable idea that carbon dioxide emissions from industrial activities threaten Earth's climate. These problems are summarized in the 2016 State of the Climate Report, released during the UN Climate Conference in Morocco in November 2016 by Mark Morano. Okay, publisher of the influential ClimateDeport.com. Morano's report demonstrated that prominent experts disagree with virtually all of the major concerns that activists are telling us Activists tell us are settled science. Fears of catastrophic human-caused changes in temperature, sea levels, population, bear population, sea and land ice, and extreme weather are soundly debunked by scientists cited in the Client Depot report. And that was the important stuff right there. So this part here. All right, if you want to read the rest of this here, you can here. Right there. I have one more article for you. Got to get to that. And lawmakers protest arrest of DACA recipient. That's ICE says he admitted gang ties. By Bridget Johnson. Washington. The Department of Homeland Security says DACA beneficiary taken into custody in Washington State raid was a gang member, criminal, while attorneys challenging the arrest say the 23-year-old has no criminal record and was coerced by Immigration and Customs Enforcement to saying that he had gang ties. No lawmakers are stepping in to rally on the behalf of Daniel Ramirez Menendez, who was accepted in the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program in 2014 and received a renewal last year. 23-year-old child. He was 21 when they called him a child. DACA recipients have been vetted. Senator Bob Menendez said the U.S. government has confirmed that they are not a threat to our government, our country. It is disturbing to imagine that the type of fear being felt by the undocumented mothers and fathers who have to make room in the shadows of society for their DACA children, he added. Well, maybe they should have thought about that and became legal, and didn't procrastinate and got on the right path of legal citizenship. That would have been great. Ramirez was brought illegally to the United States from Mexico when he was 7 by his irresponsible parents, and has a 3-year-old son born in the U.S. on February 10th, according to the court filing from his lawyer. He was arrested when ICE agents served a warrant on Ramirez's father, not the 3-year-old, the older dude. Okay, the kid who's now 23. The 23-year-old child. DHS said Wednesday that Ramirez, a gang member, was encountered at a residence in Des Moines, Washington, during an operation targeting a prior deported felon. They were going after someone else, a felon, and they caught him. He got rounded up, and he says, "Yeah, I got gang ties." Sorry, dumb move. He was arrested by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, and was transferred to the Northwest Detention Center to await the outcome of removal proceedings before an immigration judge. And the department said, adding that since the start of DACA, approximately 1,500 recipients have had their deferred action terminated due to a criminal conviction, gang affiliation, or a criminal conviction related to a gang affiliation. If you're a criminal, you're in a gang, you're going to be sent home. So get the hell out of those gangs and get a job and get on the path to citizenship, or you're in trouble, Latinos. Ramirez was reportedly asked if he was in the country illegally, and he told the agency he works. He had a work permit. His brother, who was also in home at the time, was not arrested. ICE said Tuesday that Ramirez has taken into custody based on his admitted gang affiliation and risk to the public safety. Attorney Ethan Dermida, who said he believes that this is the first case of the DACA recipient being detained by ICE. Reuters told Reuters that his client unequivocally denies gang affiliation. While in the custody, he was repeatedly pressured by the U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement agencies to falsely admit affiliation. That's not true. We don't know that. He was questioned, and you're saying he was falsely committed. We don't know that. The statement issued tonight by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is not accurate. The federal government has until this morning to explain why Ramirez is still in custody, according to BuzzFeed. Oh, real trustworthy. With a federal magistrate also wanting answers on whether the detainee has been moved into removal proceedings. Representative Pamela Jayapal sent a letter to DHS Security John Kelly on Tuesday arguing that Ramirez's arrest would not be the first time that ICE has targeted an individual for enforcement based on unfounded allegations. She demanded to know how Ramirez's reported gang admission was obtained. Republican Gallo said in a statement Wednesday that Ramirez's arrest confirmed that we've all suspected the Trump administration is indiscriminately targeting undocumented immigrants, including Dreamers, in raids across the country. That's not true. Okay, it's your fault for picking him up. If he's not supposed to be deported, it's not Trump's fault. He's not there. If President Trump truly believes the rule of law upholding our country's Fourth Amendment rights would be a good place to start, Gallo added. Illegally detaining Dreamers. Stop calling them Dreamers, all right? They're young schemers. Won't make America safer. It will only promote distrust and fear in immigrant communities. They should be fearful of the law, making them less likely to cooperate with law enforcement to keep dangerous criminals off the street. They weren't cooperative before. They're not cooperative now, and they're not going to be more cooperative if we back off and tell them, don't worry about the law. We need people to fear. That's what the law is all about, period. Okay? These are not people who are cooperative. They're quiet, and the police come around, they shut their door, and they don't say a word, ever. They don't help anyone. And they take our children's jobs away. Stop calling their jobs unwanted jobs that we don't want. No, that's not true. They're our kids' jobs. Those are the jobs our children used to work and got work ethics from and learned what it means to work. And then these immigrants come into our country and they took all of those jobs from our little kids, the butcher jobs, the stock boy jobs, the lawn mowing jobs, the construction jobs, all the types of jobs, low-paying jobs that our kids used to be able to get into. Dems have also demanded that ICE brief members on Congress on the full arrest of the full breadth of their current detention and deportation operations. Thank you for watching, and if you like what you're seeing here, and just make sure you share this with your friends and family, Twitter, Facebook, get the word out. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe and hit the bell next to the subscribe button after you subscribe so you're notified of all the breaking stories as they come in. And if you like what we're doing here, please like the video. It's very important, and we really appreciate it. When you like our videos, it pushes up our videos to the top of YouTube. It pushes down the liberal propaganda crap videos. Pushes them down and puts us up. And that's what we need to beat this craziness and, get Trump in for another 8 years. Got to keep fighting, folks. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time at Not Fake News.